Yellow wine, the Château Chalon, has a place of its own in French winemaking because it's grown and made in a unique way. You can't compare it to anything else in the way it's produced, nor in its taste. That, too, is unique.
In 1375, Duke Philip the Bold had wine delivered from Château Chalon to Bruges when he received emissaries of the Pope and the King of England.
Chemicals in wine are medicinal, and as medicine is meant for a sick person, we have to create a wine that's not itself sick, which doesn't have additives or chemicals. That's my philosophy.
With its cold winters and bright summers, the Jura isn't the first place we think of when we talk about France's wine regions. And yet its grape varieties have adapted to these extreme conditions to provide exceptional wines like the legendary yellow wine.
Among our reds, we have the Ploussard, which is the king of the red wines. And then we have the Trousseau and the Pinot. As far as whites are concerned, we have the Chardonnay and Savagnin, which is what we use to make yellow wine.
For the Jura soil, these grape varieties and the vintage to fully manifest themselves, Pierre Auvernois develops these wines naturally.
For me, winemaking doesn't start in the cellar. It begins in the vineyard. So if you want to make a good natural wine, you need healthy soil which hasn't been chemically weeded. The moment you use chemicals, you're killing lots of things.
Pierre Auvernois harvests grapes only when they're ripe and juicy, not a moment sooner.
A fruit has to be ripe, no matter what fruit it is. If you pick a peach and it's not ripe, it's not good. From the moment a fruit is ripe, it's juicy and good. It has to be picked when ripe. That's paramount.
The finest yellow wine can be conserved indefinitely, like the one harvested the year of the coronation of Louis XVI and kept by an Arbois family.
The oldest wine we've ever tasted was from 1774. At the time, there were certainly no chemicals in that. We had it at 220 years old in 1994.
In the heart of the Jura Vineyards stands the village of Château Chalon, which gave its name to a label dedicated exclusively to yellow wine. Winemakers continue to produce the distinctive Savagnin in the cellars of this medieval city.
The peculiarity of yellow wine is that it's developed with a single grape, the Savagnin, which is native to the Jura. It's typically developed as a dry white wine, but for this wine, it's stored for more than 6 years in barrels. And during those 6 years, the wine evaporates and becomes more concentrated. Oxygenated from above, the yeast multiplies and eventually gathers on the surface of the wine to form a fine veil that will protect the wine and give it this unique character.
Under similar conditions, other wines turn to vinegar. But in a mysterious alchemy, the oxygen here helps produce a yellow wine with unmistakable aromas.
You can detect the scent of nuts, dried fruit, a hint of greenery. There could be a note of tobacco and spices like curry. The aromas are quite complex, with a long finish.
It's an aromatic complexity that makes for superb food and wine pairings.
In this region, the ideal match is with poulet de Bresse, or Bresse chicken, in a cream sauce of yellow wine and morel mushrooms. Or you could venture into exotic and spicy dishes like Thai cuisine. But returning to the region, we can't forget one of the best pairings, and that's yellow wine with Comté cheese.
To understand the secrets of Château Chalon, John Berthet-Bondet and Jean-Marie Roulier-Lambert brought together the top specialists of the Jura Vineyards.
Here, we're in an ancient seabed, so we have layers of marl and clay, from which Savagnin in particular has been able to flourish.
An unusual wine that has inspired many artists.
The novelist Colette really liked the yellow wine of Château Chalon, and she's written beautifully about it.
A gilded muse to preserve, which hopefully will continue to inspire many more authors and artists.
Chateau Chalon's place in French gastronomic heritage is probably quite anecdotal if we judge by the quantity of wine produced. That doesn't mean it's not an exceptional wine, a wine that conveys much that lies in imagination.
You bring poetry to life, and we drink you without a tremor. Perfume, nectar, Saint Ambrosia.
Climate change has endangered our heritage. It all depends on how you look at it. My geologist friend said in 20 million years, perhaps everything will be in its rightful place. Maybe so, but for future generations, that scares me. Perhaps in the future we'll have grapes from the Rhône Valley growing in the heights of Mont Blanc.
Au-dessus du Mont Blanc.